your water, stay hydrated. Also, if anyone has any questions so far, any comments, make sure to leave them in the comments section, and we have some folks who are monitoring that and will let us know if there's anything y'all need to tell us.
Lydia, what you snacking on?
Nothing. I just finished breakfast.
No snacks.
No snacks for me. I have hot Cheetos I can pull out, but that's gonna be kind of messy.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm on my second cup of coffee this morning in my little power mug.
Yes, we love to see
me life this morning on a Monday.
We need it. I just ran out of coffee though, so I need to get some more.
Starting a Monday without the coffee. Bold move, Lydia.
We'll see how far it lasts.
Well, attendees, please grab your snacks, grab your lunch, get your goodies. We'll talk about 1110, talk about voting rights, all the things. I'm so thrilled y'all are joining us.
Also, make sure to have your phone close by. We're gonna start making calls here pretty soon.
Oh my gosh, I can hear the birds chirping on your end, Lydia. That's magical.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm gonna spend today outside a little later.
Yes, maybe while we're waiting, let's do a quick introduction. Lydia, who are you?
Thanks, Lauren. Well, my name is Lydia Hernandez. My pronouns are they, she, ella, and I'm currently the Voter Rights Fellow for ACLU of Idaho. Who are you, Lauren?
Hi, y'all. I'm Lauren. I'm the policy strategist with the ACLU of Idaho. I use she, they pronouns, and I am excited to be here with y'all.
Yes. Yeah, I just have to have my windows all open. My balcony door is wide open, so I can just like feel the outside.
Yes, living for that.
All right, so it's 12:33. Are we feeling good to begin? Okay. All right, Ruby, if you could please start us off with the PowerPoint. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Again, thank you so much for spending your Monday afternoon with us. We do hope you're like rubbing on something that way. Yeah, you stay nourished and fed and hydrated and all of the things. But yeah, so here we are presenting to you our virtual lunch. We're going to go over Senate Bill 1110, which is on ballot initiative. And basically we're here to say, Governor Little, you can't silence us. And we have resources here in a bit to provide to you all. That way you can stay engaged and follow with us. So before we begin our overview of Senate Bill 1110, we're going to start off with the land acknowledgement. So like I mentioned, my name is Lydia Hernandez, and I'm presenting to you on the lands of Shoshone-Bannock peoples. We are privileged to be here, and we acknowledge that this land, that this land, not only in gratitude to Indigenous communities who have held relationships with this land for generations, but also as a point of individual and collective reflection for us as we work towards dismantling colonial practices. If you know which land you're on, I highly recommend you to drop that down in the chat as well. I right now don't have the resources to drop any sort of like link, so that's my bad, my apologies, but for sure do your own research and find ways to acknowledge the land in your own daily lives. So moving forward, I'll pass it over to Lauren.
Thanks, Lydia. Yes, and please drop your name, your location in the chat. Excited to be in community with y'all, sharing this space. And Ruby, if you could go ahead and go to the next slide, that'd be much appreciated. And Ruby is our lovely campaign strategist, is helping us with all the tech stuff today, all the snaps for you, Ruby. Thanks for your help. Much love and appreciation to you. So a quick overview on Senate Bill 1110 and a history of voter initiative and referendum here in the state of Idaho. So Idaho has a constitutional right to be able to create legislation through the people. We have the right to be able to do that independent of the Idaho legislature. And so the Idaho voters have used the initiative process from time to time when the legislature has refused to really honor the will of the people. And so we saw that, for example, with referendum of the Luna laws. We saw that with, refusal to expand Medicaid. And so we have used the initiative process. The people have used the initiative process when the Idaho legislature has ignored the will of the people. And we've seen attacks on this initiative and referendum process in the past. And so 1159 was the previous attack on the initiative process. And again, that would just make the initiative process much more difficult. It increased the number of signatures that were required, increased the number of districts that were acquired. That as Senate Bill 1159, it ended up passing both the House and the Senate, and then it was ultimately vetoed by Governor Little. And so here we find ourselves in a very similar circumstance. I'm going to pass it over to Lydia to kind of give an overview of what Senate Bill 1110 does, and we'll talk a bit more about where it's at in the process. But again, it is an attack on the initiative process that makes it that much more difficult to be able to get ballot initiatives on the ballot, despite the current process already being incredibly onerous and difficult. And so I will go ahead and pass it over to Lydia, and Ruby, if you could go to the next slide.
Yeah, thank you, Laura, and Ruby and Roseli. So I'm so sorry for the background noise, y'all. Apartment life is loud. But Senate Bill 1110 is basically another version of the last, what was it, Senate Bill 1149? Another version of a ballot initiative.
1159.
1159, thank you. Whereas Senate Bill 1110 right now is working to make all 35 districts 6% of eligible electors. Basically what that means is right now, to have a ballot initiative be eligible, we need 6% of eligible signatures from throughout the state. But this bill wants to make it where each district needs 6% of signatures, which is a lot. And it's a lot to go from 6% throughout the state to 6% each district. That would make Idaho the only state that requires all legislative districts to require signatures. And this results in a lot of damage, most predominantly in single district voter power, veto power. And what this means is that one district can not vote for a ballot initiative because of the amount of people that live in that single district, ultimately canceling out whatever ballot initiative is eligible. Even if all the other districts meet the 6% and that one district decides like, nah, this isn't for us, they can just veto it. So that can be harmful for not only for Democratic campaigns, but also Republican. So this also results in out-of-state funds and interests, and of course limits grassroots campaigns. And we saw a lot of this with the Medicaid expansion, where grassroots organizations came out, went out to rural areas and were able to campaign with the folks living out there. They got their signatures, but with this amount of signatures required with the 6% in each district, it really only leaves those with the resources and the privilege and the money to come out from other states to provide all of their interest into this one, into like the districts that they believe that they can have the power over because they have the money. And so, yeah, it just ultimately cancels out grassroots work and organizations. So
And when Lydia's talking about, well, how this bill makes it more onerous, right, is that right now, the current process, status quo, you need 6% of signatures from 18 districts, 18 legislative districts. So what this bill does is it increases it from 18 legislative districts to all 35 districts. And so that's why, right, this has huge implications. It increases the geographic requirement. It makes it so you have to get that 6% in every single district. And it makes it incredibly difficult for, you know, as Lydia mentioned, one single district would have veto power, right? So if you couldn't get the 6% from a single district, that district is going to could make it impossible to get something on the ballot, right? If we can't get, so that means, you know, out of state money, you know, can run a really successful campaign. They could target a single legislative district and make it very difficult to get that 6% of signatures. And again, make it incredibly difficult to be able to get anything on the ballot. And I'm seeing some questions pop up here from Richard. How are you coordinating with Reclaim Idaho? They seem to have a lot of experience with this initiative effort. Yes, absolutely. So we have a whole coalition group of partners that are fighting against these attacks on the voter initiative process, and that includes Reclaim Idaho. And we're working in coordination with them. And that's absolutely right. By increasing it and making it 35 districts, that would make, literally, it would make the initiative process the most difficult initiative process in the entire United States. While there are states right now that have all congressional district requirements, there's not a single state that requires all legislative district requirements. And so again, that would make it one of the most onerous in the country. And we'd see, you know, when we're looking comparatively to legislative districts compared to congressional districts, I know I've heard folks mention how that would be a lot less onerous than the current, even the current process right now at the 18 districts with 6% signature requirement. So absolutely, we see that, you know, increasing that geographic requirement is going to make it incredibly difficult, that much more onerous. And we're working closely with, you know, folks that have led a ballot initiative charge in the past to fight against Senate Bill 1110. And do you have anything else to add from that, Lydia?
No, that was really great. Thank you, Lauren. Other than just like uplifting Reclaim's work, we are just following their lead. And yeah, definitely we're going to provide some resources from them as well later on.
Beautiful. And we can go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, so where is Senate Bill 1110 at now? Well, it passed the Senate, and unfortunately, it passed the Senate with a veto-proof majority. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So we know it passed. We passed the Senate, moved back over to the House, went out of the House State Affairs Committee with a due pass recommendation, and now it's on the third reading calendar on the House side. And we are anticipating that it is likely to pass in the House. And so that's why you'll see that there's a lot of efforts to target the governor requesting a veto, because at this point, folks are kind of working under the assumption that it's very likely to pass in the House. And so directing efforts towards the governor asking for a veto is incredibly important. Now, let's say we get to the point, right, where we are able to secure a veto from Governor Little, like on 1159. Well, then we still have some more work to do, right? Because even if we do secure the veto, then we do have to target, again, the Senate side and see if we can perhaps flip some votes so that they don't override the veto. And so there are lots of opportunities for folks to get involved, to follow along with this process. And so, you know, first plan of attack is certainly to ask Governor Little to veto. And then should we secure that veto, then refocusing those efforts and looking to really, target various senators to see if they'll change their vote, so that we don't have a veto override. All right, let's go ahead and hop over to the next slide, please. Oh, I think we skipped a slide. Can you head back? Now, let's say, for example, that we aren't successful in securing the veto. So if we aren't successful in securing the veto and Governor Little passes 1110 into law, then another avenue is litigation. We know that litigation is really inevitable. We know that there are strong constitutional claims under the First and 14th Amendments and also under the Idaho State Constitution. We also know that it is going to be fact intensive and costly. And so, when we're talking about all the reasons why this bill should be vetoed, and when we're lobbying senators to maybe change their vote, looking at, the high cost of litigation, and, as an addition to this really undermining the voice of the people, the cost of litigation is another valuable talking point. I think also, something to consider is that even the 18 district requirement has not been exposed to a legal challenge. And so really, right, if someone wanted to bring a legal challenge under the 18 district requirement, we don't even know if that surpasses constitutional scrutiny, right? And so there is some benefit for legislators and the governor to keep it status quo, because they don't even know right now if the 18 district requirement meets that threshold, right? And so upping it to all legislative districts, the most onerous in the country, has serious implications. And at this point, they may say, hey, maybe we keep it status quo, so that way we aren't subject to this litigation where we don't even know if the 18 district requirement meets constitutional scrutiny. And so we know that litigation is another thing, another course if this were to pass. All right, and then with that, go ahead and pass it back over to Lydia.
Thank you so much for all of that, Lauren. And I do think there are some questions in the chat. I don't know if you want to go over those now or.
Sure. I mean, let's see. I see. Let's see. All right, I'm reading from Linda. Could there be a compromise? How about a minimum of 1% of voters from each legislative district with 20 legislative districts? I mean, like at this point, I would say, we're not really in the business of trying to change. Right now, our efforts are really just like targeting, hey, Senate Bill 1110 is not the bill, right? It's going to make it significantly more onerous. We know that all legislative requirements is far too difficult. We know that the 18 district one as currently is already difficult, right? And so I think that Linda, if you're thinking, how can we make the ballot initiative process easier? I think that's a conversation that you should certainly bring up to your representatives and saying, hey, I think that this 18 district requirement is far too onerous. What can we do to make it less onerous? But and in the scope of kind of what we're working for and playing on the defense, it's like, hey, legislators, this 35 district requirement is far too onerous. We are concerned that it doesn't, it's unconstitutional. It really limits First Amendment rights. And so really focusing on, right now we know it has the votes. And so that's why we're really just focusing on, hey, this isn't the bill. Senators, please change your vote, assuming that it gets through the House. And Governor Little, we're really asking you to honor the will of the people. We're asking you to honor our ability to get something on the ballot. And we want you to veto this piece of legislation. I also see, what is the chance the proposed change be declared unconstitutional? I mean, I think it is, there's certainly very strong claims. I'm not in the business of wagering on that, but I can say firmly that there are strong constitutional claims. You know, specifically in the 9th district, you'll hear some opponents, or excuse me, some proponents of this piece of legislation say that there's been favorable case law, and they cite to Colorado, but that's in a different district. We're in the 9th Circuit, not the 10th. And so, you know, I think that we have a very strong First Amendment claim, and I think we have very strong claims under the Idaho State Constitution. And let me just pull up that language here. And so, you know, when you're looking at the Idaho State Constitution, Article 1, Section 2 of the Idaho State Constitution provides that all political power is inherent in the people. Government is instituted for their equal protection and benefit, and they have the right to alter, reform, or abolish the same whenever they may deem it necessary. Article 3, Section 1 of the Idaho State Constitution further provides that the people reserve to themselves the power to propose laws and enact the same at the polls, independent of the legislature. So we have strong claims under the Idaho State Constitution. We could also, you know, bring a claim under the Equal Protection Clause. And it's also likely to spur litigation under the First Amendment. And the Supreme Court has held that the circulation of an initiative petition is core political speech because it involves both, you know, an expression of a desire for political change and a discussion of the merits of the proposed change. And a voter signature on a petition is political speech. And with the 9th Circuit, they assume, you know, ballot access restrictions place a severe burden on that core political speech, and it triggers strict scrutiny. And so when we're looking at legal challenges, we certainly have strong, viable claims. And even when you are looking at, you know, the opinions that have been brought out from the Attorney General, even on 1159 and on 1110, you know, there are admissions that if there's credible evidence that could be developed that the initiative sponsor could not reasonably collect the required signatures in the allotted time, then it could fall to a constitutional challenge. So that's where we're looking at as far as, you know, potential legal arguments should this result in litigation. But it's our hope that we're able to, you know, target the governor, switch some votes on the Senate side, and maybe avoid that costly litigation. All right. Let's go ahead, and I know there are more questions. I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to Lydia. We're going to try making a call here to the governor's office. We're going to pull up a little script for you, and then we'll keep chugging along. All right.
All right, thank you for all of that, Lauren. So here, as you all can see, we have a script and Governor Brad Little's number. So we're going to try that right now. Hopefully we are able to go through. And I definitely recommend and welcome you all to do this along with me. All right, let's see.
Thank you for calling the office of Governor Brad Little. If you have questions about COVID-19, please visit coronavirus.idaho.gov or call your local public health district. Contact information for the public health districts is available at coronavirus.idaho.gov. Press 1 if you have questions about unemployment. Press 2 if you would like to speak to someone in the governor's office. Thank you. Record your message. Wait while I transfer your call. Office Brad Little. How may I help you?
Hi, I would just like to leave a message for him.
I can take that.
Okay, so I would just like to say that my name is Lydia Hernandez, and I'm calling today to veto Senate Bill 1110. And I would just like to say
Okay.
that this bill would make it virtually impossible for any grassroots initiative to qualify for the ballot, and that Idaho already has one of the most demanding ballot initiative processes in the country. I would also just like to say that the ballot initiative is the constitutional right of every Idaho citizen. It's a right in our state constitution to give ordinary citizens a voice in their government, and that this bill is an attempt to revoke the voice of the people and to urge Governor Little to veto SB 1110 and protect our initiative rights.
Okay, well, I got you down. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, y'all, so it's that easy. It took less than like 2 minutes. So I would just recommend calling them, letting them know your name and what you're calling for. And again, these are just talking points, so just cater it to what you need to say and what like you feel most passionate about. But here we have the script. So yeah, there you go.
Thank you so much, Lydia. It always feels good to hear someone else do it and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
Like,
Helps make it a little less nerve-wracking.
Yeah, okay, so moving forward, if nobody has any questions, or if y'all actually just finished calling or plan to call, we have a cute frame for you all to post on Facebook. It's in partnership with Reclaim Idaho. They created this frame that you can change with your profile picture that says that we urge Governor Brad Little to veto SB 1110. So yeah, make sure that once you finish calling, change your profile picture if you would like. Let us know if you've done so, and with your consent, we would love to share that on our story. We're just trying to mobilize as many folks as we can to make sure that Governor Little knows that we're listening, knows that we're paying attention to the things that are happening against our voter rights. So yeah, with that being said, Roseli just dropped a link down below, so definitely check that out. And to finish this off, we definitely want to honor your time and the 30 minutes that we allotted for this. Yeah, we just wanted to say thank you for coming through, snacking with us, drinking your water, doing all the things to make sure that you're nourished for the day. And we also want to welcome you to our voter rights webinar that will take place next Monday on March 22nd at 6 p.m. So this is just going to be an overview of all the voter rights bills, or most of the voter rights bills that we're currently working on and tracking and finding ways to stay engaged with. So if you're interested in learning more about the voter rights bills that we're working on, definitely stay tuned. We'll continue to drop resources and links that will come out of for that webinar. So yeah, the panelists will include CBI, ourselves, and Representative Colin Nash to kind of talk more about what's going on in the State House.
Y'all, there are a lot of attacks on voter rights. They're coming left and right. And so we're going to go do a really, in-depth dive on all the legislative attacks on voter rights, all the trends of voter suppression that we're seeing, across the country, and Idaho is not immune from that. And so I know there was a question in the chat, are other states experiencing a similar move in the initiative process? And I can't say for certain, whether we're seeing that trend on making the initiative process more onerous, but we are seeing trends in all sorts of voter suppression throughout the country. And ACLU of Idaho is fighting all of those attacks in partnership with Conservation Voters for Idaho and various other groups that are, really pushing back against voter suppression. And so I'm also going to drop, we do have an every action link to oppose House Bill 223, which is a bill that would make it a felony to collect or convey another person's ballot if you are not their family member. And so we are going to talk more about House Bill 223 in this voter rights webinar, but we hope that you're as fired up about that piece of legislation as we are, and we really invite you to use the every action that I posted in the chat to write your senators and tell them to oppose House Bill 223. And it looks like there is a request to post the script or the chat in the screen again. And so if you could go back on the screen, we're going to just leave this up for a little bit longer. And so folks can be sure to call. And then once you do call, as Lydia mentioned, change your Facebook profile page, make it so that it says, you know, Governor Little, veto Senate Bill 1110, and then invite your friends to call the governor's office as well. And then we're going to be keeping a close eye on the third reading calendar. We are anticipating that there will be debate on the House side on 1110 sometime, you know, mid this week. And then from that, we will again, really increase pressure on Governor Little, continue making calls to the office, and invite your friends and family members to do the same. And then I'm also going to drop, you'll see, you know, you can find this event on our Facebook page. But I'm also going to drop that has some information, and we can include the script there as well on that Facebook event. But I'm also going to drop, this is the petition from Reclaim. There are currently over 16,000 signatures collected. And so feel free to read through that petition, sign it if you're so inclined. We're also going to be dropping that off to the governor's office. Anything else, Lydia, before we end this?
No, nothing else. I think we were able to touch over a lot of the important points. Definitely, if I will try to look for that script, it's in my other computer, but yeah, we'll just continue to send out resources. Make sure to check out the email that we've sent earlier about this event. And we were able to drop off some of our emails in the chat. The L Hernandez at ACLUidaho.org is the right one. I accidentally posted the wrong one, but if you have any more questions about voter rights or anything that's happening at the State House, feel free to reach out to myself or Lauren.
Oh, look, and the birds are singing for us to end this webinar. Thanks for joining us all. Hope you tune in with us next Monday for all things voting rights, all thing attacks on people power, and yeah, ring up Governor Little. Tell him to veto Senate Bill 1110. Have a good Monday, y'all. Bye-bye.